Good evening. Rival protest groups have again shut down parts of Melbourne CBD, running through the streets, followed by hundreds of police. But officers on foot and horseback managed to keep the right and left-wing protesters apart, avoiding the ugly violence seen in the past.
It was the day Victoria Police said enough. Yet again, city streets were awash with opposing protesters taunting and baiting each other. And yet again, hundreds of police were dragged away from fighting crime to keep them apart.
Get up in front of them!
On foot and on horseback, many in full riot gear, police were everywhere. And they had zero tolerance for those trying to create trouble. It began as an Australian Pride rally by a coalition of right-wing groups, including the True Blue Crew and United Patriots Front, protesting mainly against Islam.
You're not racist if you're a proud Australian.
Fewer than 200 people showed up, but they were met by left-wing protesters. And when both groups began to march, order was lost. As protesters moved along Victoria Street, police scrambled to stay between them. The Australian Pride group originally planned to head to the State Library, but instead moved down Spring Street. This is what makes the job of police that much harder. Both groups on the move and neither with a clear plan of where they're going. It means police must simply move with them. The left-wing protesters repeatedly tried to break police lines and confront the right-wing group, but police were having none of it.
Do not touch the people! You touch my breast! Hands off!
And as pub patrons revelled in the spectacle, police regrouped at Parliament House, keeping the two groups apart by just 100 metres. The police operation was extraordinary. Hours before the rallies were scheduled to begin, police were searching protesters from both sides for weapons. They found a knife and knuckle duster. One person was arrested for possessing a weapon. Tough new laws meant far fewer protesters were wearing masks today, but it was clear some had come prepared for violence.
Some people want to beat up Nazis, and that's going to happen.
This time, though, police were too good for them. After a standoff at Parliament House, both groups eventually moved off. Another attempted clash was stopped with more capsicum spray, and finally city streets were cleared for now. Despite the huge drain on resources, both groups are promising to return. Laurel Irving, 7 News.